If I knew I was going to use this thing to make videos, I would have spent more than $40 on a Kindle. I would have upgraded to the 8-inch version. I think it was $80 at the time. It's probably less now. Well, next time. If you click on the title thing, it will pop up showing the links to how to enter the inking contest. To give you my email, and you can join us on Discord. The link's in there. Patreon, or get me a coffee at Ko-fi. The state of modern comics, as seen through the lens of Ghosted 4 and Strangelands 3. This is the best comics have to offer. Eat, Pray, Sina Grace. Mags Visaggio and Sina Grace are what is wrong with comics in current year. If these two people are working in comics, your industry is dying. They should both be interns getting coffee. Most of the people in Comicsgate could write better books. And I don't mean the creators, I mean the subscribers, the people who leave me comments. They could sell more books than these two Pravda-level propagandists. Hey, Sina and Mags, would it kill you to write without an agenda? Yes, it probably would. After all, they aren't really in the industry for money, they are in it for ideology. I hesitate to say that I could write Ghosted or Strangelands better, because what if someone said, fine, do an issue? That would be interesting. But I'm pretty sure I could write Kim and Kim better. Those characters are, or could be, a lot of fun. Instead of wallowing in the emo XD self-pity, I cut myself because I am mad at my dad who went out for cigarettes 20 years ago. Circle jerk plot devices. And if you visualized Mags and Sina manually assisting each other in that endeavor, then you're welcome. Write a plot where the bad guy isn't a stand-in for the father you never had. Your parents don't hate you, but they are bummed out that you won't give them grandkids. No, you can't have butt babies. You're not Bono. If you want to find bad guys for your characters to fight, use Africa or the Middle East. There is no shortage of brutal dictators. But you guys need to stay out of those countries because they will teach you that gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. If these NPC shills just swapped races and sexes of the characters, they would actually be subverting expectations. The writing would still suck, but it would be a start. The problem with SJW writers is related to why not only stand-up comedy is dying, but comedy in general, is because comedy involves laughing at silly people doing silly things. But in the People's Republic of current year, everyone is a victim. The Irish were slaves and discriminated against. The Eastern Bloc were slaves to communism. The Mediterranean people were enslaved under Islam. Cecil is enslaved by alcoholism and crushing depression. Everyone is desperate to raise their oppression score to avoid getting put in the gulags. That presents a problem for SJW writers. Who can they make fun of? The only people left to do are Southern accents and humiliate poor Christian Southerners or Orange Man bad humor. Aren't Republicans stupid? Republicans always wearing blackface or having sex with interns or pressuring starlets to have sex with them. Oh wait, those are bad examples. That we even know the names of these people is prima facie evidence that we live in clown world. Ghosted opened at 6,500 issues. Number 2 was down to 3,500. Strangelands number 2 was down to 2,300 issues. Yet we all know who they are because they are diversity hires. If they were straight Christians with an American flag in their bios, they would never work in the industry. But like your boy says, when you are hired for the diversity points, then you never need to improve. You just need to continue being gay. I wonder what would happen if Mark Waid converted to Christianity and put a MAGA in his bio. Life in mainstream comics would be very difficult. In a normal industry, the boss would just tell them to cool it with the identity politics and write what sells. To have books that start under 7,000 and drop to 1,000 after issue 5, get canceled, then get rebooted, sometimes under the same author. That's not a merit or profit-based business model. The industry is in a post-profit phase because in the short term, the company doesn't care if comic book stores close. It won't put them out of business for years. Or really, I guess to maintain the IPs for film rights, they'll just sell their stuff as graphic novels online. The creators will get paid less, but they're working for the dopamine hits they get from getting a blue check mark on Twitter. that is worth more money to them. More than money to them. I know it sounds crazy, but you have to understand that their motivations are different from normal humans. They want power and influence. We want to buy homes or sell the Kia and get a Honda and then a BMW. We want to raise our kids in a safe neighborhood. But people like Sina and Mags obviously will never have kids, and the only car they are allowed to buy is a Toyota Prius. And they don't need space for a family, so an apartment is fine. Of course, they end up crowdfunding sandwiches or their breast augmentation surgery, which is funny because only the male SJWs get fake boobs. The real women don't because of the patriarchy and the male gaze. When Zach jokes that they spend all day on social media, he isn't lying. Look at Renfamous's Twitter timeline. She must be working very few hours a day because they tweet every hour. Every like they get is a dopamine hit. Actually, both Mags and Sina don't get a lot of interaction online, probably because they're out of shape, balding 40-year-old dudes, and I really doubt that they have too many actual fans. They have groupies who kiss their ass because they're blue check marks, or possibly because they want a job in comics for some reason, because they also desire the blue check mark over being able to eat anything other than rice and beans. Don't get me wrong, I eat that every day because I'm watching my girlish figure. But it's nice to have the option of being able to splurge on 2 tomatoes a day instead of just 1. Or to be able to pay for your own gender reassignment surgery instead of having to use a rusty spoon. I'm sure those estrogen pills aren't cheap. And the thing is, while it's true Mags and Sina aren't Hemingway, though Mags may pull a Hemingway in a few years, they don't have to be as bad as Mags and Sina. Writing subtle propaganda is very difficult for some reason. Humans are pretty good at reading propaganda and disregarding it. What's this? A white guy robbing someone in every issue? Well, that isn't in accord with reality, and that's why your books only sell a few thousand copies. Nasser sells better than them, and I'm pretty sure he is autistic. Before I run out of time, in the back of Strangelands, and I don't know why I'm pronouncing it like that, they break down how an image is put together, but it's like if Zach were to explain the features on his Kia. Nobody cares, Zach. It's a Kia. This comic is a used Kia. In fact, most mainstream comics are Kias with 100,000 miles on them. They still run fine, but they go completely unnoticed. But at least used cars are priced what they're worth. $3,000 for a car that will probably go another 100,000 miles is a pretty good deal. But $4 for books like these are the reason they sell so few copies. They should be sold by Alterna for $1.50. Your sales would increase, probably enough to offset the lower cost. Like I said, there was one shockingly funny scene, a very Deadpool style of humor that totally fired on all 8 cylinders. So I know Mags has potential, even though Zach disagrees. But then, after a few great panels, Mags goes back to write like somebody who has a gun next to them with 1 bullet. This one humorous scene, the guy is being interrogated, and he's trying to tell the guy about his tough life growing up. And so the text is describing his hardships, but then the image shows the kid living a great life. And it's a funny scene. I mean, for any standard comic books, this was a legitimately funny scene. And in a Mags book, it was shocking. I've never seen any interesting panels in a Mags book, ever. Literally, I've read everything she's ever put together, everything that I could find. This is the one example of something that even made me smile. Seriously. It was funny. This was legitimately funny. So either someone else wrote it, but I don't know, maybe someone else wrote it, or the Prozac finally kicked in. But the behind-the-scenes explanation at the back of the book is just pathetic when 900 people are reading it. Oh, and Ghosted 4, it's not even worth looking at. I can't believe that someone exists who is worse than Mags, but that is Sina Grace's claim to fame, that he's worse than Mags, but better than Kwanzaa. There's a bit in the end of the book where this lady makes this comment. I should have read it in the beginning. This lady makes a comment. Don't do any damage to your computer or your screen. She says, Stan Lee and Jack King Kirby, and Jerry Siegel, Joe Susser, blah, blah, blah. These are just a few of the great creators who sparked our imagination. Get ready for it. By no means should we erase what they began. Instead, we should add our broader vision, our deeper understanding, and all aspects of our brave new world to the foundation that they laid for us. I should have read that at the beginning because most people don't make it to the end. I'll just tell you to skip to the 10-minute mark because that'll have you ripping out your freaking hair. Yes, you saw it on screen. I didn't make it up. That woman allegedly made this statement. I'm gonna have to get these in paper because I've got several sharp knives and firearms that I could use these things on. Like I said, I'll use a 22 to make smaller holes so I can make more holes. Okay, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next episode.